Ladies and gentlemen, Mystery here, reporting live for Sloptide News Network, your most trusted source for all things Darktide, and of course, Slop. Today is a monumentous day, and hopefully marks the start of a pretty exciting year for Darktide. Now, I literally just sat down at my PC and started reading up on this news, and I have not gotten any farther than the picture right here and understanding that what we have on our hands here, ladies and gentlemen, are two new enemies that are coming to Darktide very soon. How soon? That is speculative, but let's go ahead and read together. Now, forgive me, because I am live reporting on the scene as this news is breaking, if I have any misspeaks or anything. And remember to subscribe to Mystery and Sloptide News Network so you can keep this journalism a-flowin'. Warband, today we have a treat for you all. Not one, but two new enemies are on their way to make a debut in Darktide. So we have introduced the Ogryn Packmaster as our first enemy here, and this is apparently the owner of all of those Pox Hounds that are in the map. I was wondering if there was like a handler or something. The Packmaster is designed to tick two boxes. One is the fact we want to add another monstrosity to the enemy roster for some while now, and the other is the fact we wanted to make a monstrosity that is a bit less demonic or mutated. The game hasn't had a new monstrosity in ages, so it's about time. So ladies and gentlemen, we finally have a new boss monster, which is amazing because the enemy design has come so far since those early boss monsters. The Plague Ogryn, in particular, is just such an underwhelming boss experience. Hopefully this one, since they've really kind of amped up the power and the complexity of their designs, will be really, really cool. Let's see what he's about here. So, making him an Ogryn also lets us have a monstrosity with interesting voice lines that are not just guttural roars or chaotic screams. He actually talks to you. He's a guy who likes to talk while he battles the players. He's got some really cool reactive voice lines depending on what happens around him. He will, for example, react when you take one of his hounds down or when one of them manages to pounce you or someone on your team. Okay, so he's fast. He's very fast for an Ogryn, very fast and very heavy, and he will keep up with you. The Packmaster is a fast and heavy bruiser type of enemy. He won't have any problem charging into the fray. His big, shocking prod, that's what she said, ready to bash some agents of the Imperium. He's a melee fighter that will do his utmost to get in your face. His weapon also applies a debuff to players, so getting hit will not just hurt, but also leave you with a speed reduction and slower dodge replenishment, which I guess is probably going to work really well in sort of concert with his dog. So he's gonna chase you down and hit you, and that will slow you and make it harder for you to follow up dodge to any more of his attacks, or likely these dogs that are about to come pouncing in. Additionally, what makes him extra scary is that he'll be joined by Pox Hounds to help him in combat. Depending on the situation, he can bring along either normal Pox Hounds, the new armored Pox Hound, more on that in a bit, or a mix of the two. He's called the Packmaster for a reason. It will also be important to take him down as quickly as possible, since even if you get rid of all of his hounds, he can still spawn in new ones as long as he's alive. So, to me, potentially, this is actually quite a big threat, because Pox Hounds, as you know, can lock players down, right? They can jump players, and it forces someone else to get the dog off of you. That really stretches your team's action economy quite far, and a lot of times what bosses will do is they'll split the team. If teams are already in chaos and a boss, especially one that sounds like he's fast and aggressive like this, starts chasing you down and trying to hit you, that pushes you back, and then you're isolated from your team, and now your team gets pounced by dogs, and they're dealing with that while you're getting picked apart. Yeah, it sounds like this guy could unleash some absolute chaos, which is what we love from a good boss design. So another interesting thing is you will find this boss roaming. You'll be able to hear him as he walks around. You can use this to your advantage and prepare to take him head on. Having all those hounds around him makes it a pretty good tracker, so hiding from him might prove very hard. You can't stealth from him, so you can't infiltrate, or you can't use Shroud Field. I don't think there's really any of the stealth abilities, right? So maybe there's this. What if there's another stealth character coming? Why is there like an anti-stealth mechanic when they only have two stealths in the game? Interesting. Finally, before we move the spotlight to his canine friend, we should give a fair warning to all Arbites players out there. This guy is used to having unruly dogs around him, so you should probably think twice before you send your Cyber Mastiff his way. Don't say we didn't warn you. Yeah, we do have a cool new animation for when a Cyber Mastiff attacks the Packmaster, and he just... What is that? What is that? I think I can think of like two potentials here. Does he just yeet the dog and like takes your dog from you? Or does he somehow like convert the dog to his service and send it back at your team. I could see both being like a potential, but that's super, super cool. I was thinking about that because a Hound Master Arbites would be very useful here. The extra dog to bump your dogs off of him, but you got to be really careful not to send the dog over to him because, yeah, he just like, I guess, grabs him by the neck and strangles him. I don't know. Let's go on to the second new enemy, the Armored Pox Hound. So the new Pox Hound has armor. This enemy is what we call a side grade to the normal Pox Hound. All that armor is giving it more health than the already existing Hound, so it's harder to take down, but it is slower than its less ironclad cousin. If you manage to block this enemy in midair, you can stagger it, and if you do, you might want to circle around and attack the unarmored weak spot on their back for some extra damage. We hope this new variant will give even the most seasoned Pox Hound hunters a new challenge. And you get a stab in the ass. Now, it says armored. Interesting to see. I wonder if it's got carapace armor on it or something, because for flak armor really isn't resistant to almost any types of damage in the game, so it would make sense just to attack them in the head. So maybe this is a carapace armored dog. It doesn't seem like it's going to be very hard or any different in terms of the parry situation, in terms of shoving them back, right? When Pox Hounds are in the air, shoving within 10 feet of them is all it needs to just kind of throw them out of their jump animation, and then you just get to counter them. But it will lead to a much more durable Pox Hound situation, because right now, Pox Hounds are pretty much like, they just have to get lucky in order to do anything, because a push will stagger them so much, and then any single attack usually dispatches them. Now, with this dog who hopefully will be very resistant to head-on attacks, he actually might be able to recover from that push and then get away if you can't circle around behind him and stab him in the asshole, as they're implying here. So this will be part of the Packmaster's pack, and oh, you'll only encounter these hounds when he's around. Okay, so you'll know if you start getting, assailed by armored hounds that there was a Packmaster somewhere in the map. I think it's something I breezed over there, but this Ogryn Packmaster is actually a roaming enemy on the map. He's part of a patrol, so you'll actually know that you are going to encounter that boss. Very interesting. I wonder if those will also... I would have to imagine those will also just kind of join the fray. Like, for instance, they can Havoc, where you get a lot of extra monster spawns. It'd be cool to have those joining that pool as well. So hopefully this little teacher has made you ready to fight the Packmaster when he and his new armored friends enter the fight in Darktide. They'll both appear in the next update, and while we're excited to share more, we'll dive into the details when the time is right. So for now, we'll have to leave this as just a teaser. Keep your eyes on our community space and social media channels for information when we're ready to talk more about this. See you on the Morning Star. Okay, so we are going with more dogs, and I just have to look at this picture. I think I recognize this this territory, but there's your armored Pox Hounds. Looking pretty cool. Looking pretty cool. I like that. I really like his helmet. That's cool. Can we get this for our Ogryn? And also, how big is this guy? Yeah, I guess he's like, he looks like he's about, I think he's about Crusher height. Maybe he's a little bit bigger than a Crusher, and he probably has typical boss health. But there you go, guys. So that is all for today's update. Makes me think that next week we should be getting some more news. It seems like they have started the trickle release of information about the coming update, and that we'll be getting a little drip feed of it from now until the release date, which I am anticipating to be in sometime mid to late March. So we are not very far away at all, guys. With all that being said, I'll let you get back to whatever you're doing before. Thank you very much for watching Sloptide News with me, your host, Mr. E. If you haven't yet subscribed, do so now. I really greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Mr. E out. Bye-bye.